Hey, fifth graders. All right, so today you guys should be starting lesson 9.1 on your math homework. Or I guess hopefully if you're watching this, you are starting 9.1 for your math workbook. So chapter 9, which I have right here, is algebra with patterns and graphing. In this first lesson is basically about finding the average and then also using a line plot to represent the data that you get that you're given. So first of all, let's talk about average. An average is basically if you just spread whatever the total amount of a thing is equally among all the parts. So let's say that you guys all have, I don't know, cups of juice, just to throw out a random example. Okay, so you all have cups and they have different amounts of juice in them, right? Well, if we were to find the average amount of juice that all of you have, we would pour all of your juices into a big container and then pour it out into everybody's cups so that everybody gets the exact same amount. That would be the average. You would all be getting the average amount of juice. For some of you who maybe had a full cup of juice, that would mean you'd be getting less. For others of you who had an almost empty cup of juice, that means you'd be getting more. It spreads it out so it's nice and perfectly even. So I kind of wrote up a definition here. Hopefully you can see it. I apologize. I don't have my big whiteboard. Let's see, pull it back right there. All right, so there's the definition of average, or a definition of average there. And then another example of this is to look at it. So let's say that you did 6 homework assignments, right? And on those homeworks, you got a 55%, a 95%, an 85%, a 100%, a 75%, and then the last one you didn't do very well and you got a 45%, right? So if we were to find the average, we would basically add up those total number of percentage points and then divide it equally amongst the 6 homeworks. So let's kind of take a look at how that looks. Here's a really rough graph that I made there, and kind of just a bar graph that shows the 6 different homework assignments and then roughly, where it would look like on your point total. And then to what we would need to do is we would need to add up all of these homework points, which I'm going to do here real quickly. All right, so you got a total of 455 points, assuming that I did my math correctly. Okay, so 455 points, and there were 6 assignments. That means that we need to divide 455 by 6. Okay. So 6 goes into 45 7 times, which gives you 42. 45 minus 42 is 3. Drop down the 5. 6 goes into 35. Brain fart. 5 times, which gives you 30. You have 5 left over. So you're going to get into a percentage point. So that'll be or a decimal point. Sorry. So that'll be 50, which is going to be 0.8, and then it's okay, then it's going to just kind of go on forever. But 75.8 is roughly your average. If I was giving you like an average on your homeworks, I would stop it at 75.8, which is fine. So the way that would look is that every single one of the bars on your bar graph would go up the exact same amount. I apologize that this picture is going to be very rough and that while I'm drawing it, you can't really see it because I don't have a nice standing whiteboard in my house. Turns out teachers aren't teachers so much when they go home. But it would look something like this, okay? So notice some of those homeworks, the score kind of comes down, others the score goes up. But basically you find a nice, even, across the board number, all right? So that's how we would do it with whole numbers. Now, let's take a look at it the way the lesson does with a lot of these are fractions. Okay, works exactly the same. So here's another problem. Students of a 5th grade class are donating packages of rice, and then there's the amount of packages, or the amount that each package has in pounds. And so if we want to find out what is the average, then we need to figure out basically if we found the total amount of rice donated in pounds and then divided it equally amongst the 5th graders, then how much did each student donate on average? All right, so I have written the data again, and then I also drew a line plot. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go through and we're just going to count up all the things for each. So we're going to we'll start at going at 1/4, then we'll look at the 1/2, then the 3/4, and then the 1/2, and we'll just put X's above each of those numbers equal to the total amount that we have. So, and what I like to do is just kind of like cross them off. I won't cross them off. I'll just erase them because I don't want to ruin my marker, but you'll get the idea. All right, so I see 1, 2, 3 of 1/4. I'm just going to put 3 X's, and then I'm just going to kind of mark those off. All right. Next, I go to 1/2. How many 1/2s do I see? Well, I see 1, I see 2, 3, 4. So I'll put 4 X's. And then again, just mark those off. Okay, 3/4 is next. 1, 2, 3. Mark those off. And then 1/2, I see 1 here, and that's it. So there's 2. Okay, so, and we can mark those off. All right, so there is our line plot basically showing our data. And then we just need to figure out, like, okay, so we have 3 times 1/4, which is going to equal, it's 3/1 times 1/4, so you're going to have 3/4 here. For the 1/2s, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, so we have 4 times 1/2, which is going to be 4/2, and that just equals 2. Next, we have 3 times 3/4, which is going to equal 9/4. 4 goes into 9 2 times. There is 1 left over, so we have 2 and 1/4. And then last but not least, we have 2 times 1, which is just going to be 2. So the numbers that we care about are these ones that I've circled here. And we're going to add those all up, and that's the first step in finding the average. All right. Well, just kind of looking at it here, obviously I've got 2, 2, and 2, so that's 6. And then I have 1/4 and 3/4, so that's going to be another one. So we're going to have a total of 7, right? So the 5th graders donated, let me switch colors here. All right, so the 5th graders donated a total of 7 pounds. Now, how many 5th graders donated things? Well, if we count them all up, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we have 12 students. So 7 pounds were donated by 12 students. Okay, so now the next step is, oh, I've run out of room here. All right, so ignore the graph at the top part here. That's not important. So we have 7 pounds, LBS is pounds, 7 pounds donated by 12 students. Okay, so we have our total amount, which is 7, and number of groups, in this case is students, is 12. So we're going to divide 7 pounds by 12 students. And if you guys remember, from the last chapter, we can think of division as basically just fractions. So 7 is the thing that we're dividing. It's our dividend. And so that becomes our numerator. So we're going to have 7 over 12 is our divisor, and it becomes our denominator. So 7/12. And if that had been like an 8 or a 9 or something like that, we could have simplified, but in this case, we can't. 7/12 is already simplified, and then it's pounds. So the average is 7/12, actually not, it'd be 7/12 of a pound. Okay, so there's our average, is 7/12 pound. And basically, what that's saying is that if you divided the rice equally amongst all the students, it would equal out to 7/12 of a pound per student. Even though some students maybe donated more than that, some students donated less than that, but the average is where it would be if everything was equal. So Hopefully that helps you guys understand a little bit of what's going on in this lesson. Your parents should have the assignment on that assignment sheet that I gave you. But I believe basically I told you guys to just do all of them. For the actual lesson, or for the homework, I'm sorry, let's see, it looks like I have you doing numbers 6 through 10 on page 537. And then 2 through 5 would be extra credit. And then on the back sheet, so page 538, you would just do all of them. I hope you guys are having a great day, and hopefully this helped. If nothing else, I guess you can always rewind it and watch it again and see if that makes it a little simpler. But your parents probably can help you as well. So have a great day, guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye.